Hello, and welcome back to the Studio I podcast. I am so happy to have you here, and today I want to talk about living with intention. I'm sorry if you see my cat knocking over things, he's being very naughty. Stop that cat, please! I set a word for my year every year, and last year that was intention, and I succeeded pretty well in living up to that word, I think. But what is intentional living? We see and we hear it everywhere. How to be more intentional, tips for intentional living spilling out of Pinterest boards, and I even have an app called Intention. It is everywhere. But intentional living can seem like a very empty word. The definition describes it as one who makes considered, deliberate, and conscious choices about various aspects of their life. For some, that may give some explanation to what it is, but it still seems like a bunch of empty words piled up on top of each other. So today I want to talk about what I see as intentional living, and more importantly, how you can start implementing it into your life. Know what you value. You gotta know what is important to you before you can start being intentional. Being intentional is all about implementing the things in your life that you find important, about chasing the things in your life that you care about the most. So if you don't know that, it is very hard to live an intentional life. So figure out what you care about, figure out what your values are, what the things are in life that you hold to the uttermost importance. And to do that, you have to ask yourself great questions. You gotta dig deep, and you really gotta ask yourself, what are those things in life that bring me joy? What are the things in life that make me feel fulfilled? But also, what are the things in life that makes me feel awful or uninspired or drained? Chase those answers, and once you have the answers, then you can start implementing these things into your life. I have made plenty of content on how to figure out who you are, what you value. So I will link some of those in the description for you if you want to check those out. But once you have figured out what it is that you value and what it is that is important to you, you can start creating priorities and principles that you live by. So for example, if nature is very important to you, if you want to live an intentional life, you'll have to make it a priority to go out in nature and to spend time in nature. And you can create principles like, I am a girl who enjoys nature 3 or 4 times a week. By making those rules for yourself in the beginning, it can become a lot easier to live an intentional life than if you just try to go about it without any direction. Once you get used to really living with intention, you can let these rules go a bit and you can be a little bit more loose with it. But in the beginning, it is really important that you really focus on things that are important to you and avoid the things that don't add any value to your life. It's not only about knowing what you want, it's also about knowing what you need. And knowing what you want and what you need are two completely different things. You might want to go out every night, but if you're an introvert who gets drained by going out every night, what you actually need is rest. And a part of living intentionally also is to really pay attention to what you need. Know what your bare minimum routines and self-care is that you need every single day and make it a non-negotiable. If you need to have a healthy breakfast every day, otherwise your day is shit, you will have a healthy breakfast every single day. Being intentional means not letting things that are actually important to you slide, to be able to do things that don't bring you anything, or because you feel like you have to do it for the approval of somebody else, or that you have to do it because you don't want to let anybody down. Being intentional is putting yourself first without being selfish. So really make sure that those bare minimum self-care and habits are in place before you do anything else. And know your limits. Know what you can handle, know what you can't handle, and learn how to say no. If you can't handle it to go out every day, don't. That is what being intentional is about. It's making good choices that will better you. Even though sometimes you may want to do something else, know your limits, know what you can do, and say no to those things. And in the beginning, you might be sad about that. In the beginning, it might completely suck. But once you see what you gain from not doing the things that don't bring you anything, it will be hard to look back on who you used to be before. To live an intentional life, you have to be self-aware. You have to know who you are, and that comes with knowing what you want and what you need. But it also requires to listen to yourself, to your thoughts, to your body, to everything that it's trying to tell you. If you are tired, listen to it and take some rest. If you feel anxious, listen to your mind and try to figure out why and try to fix it. And it's not always possible, but being self-aware and in tune with yourself will help you to be much more intentional, because it will help you discover what you need and maybe also some things that you want. Maybe you don't want to stop drinking coffee, but maybe it is something that you need. And you can only be aware of what you need if you regularly check in with yourself and you take the time daily, weekly, monthly to reflect. And on a daily basis, you can meditate. On a weekly basis, you can journal, you can have a weekly review session, and on a monthly basis, you can really check in how you're doing with your goals and the path that you set for yourself in life, so that you stay on top of what you need and what you want, and that you don't let it go. And what is also very important that I touched on in the beginning is to take daily action. Living intentional is about being the pilot of your life and not the scared passenger on the plane. It is taking control. And the only way that you can take control is by taking back the responsibility of your life. So create a plan, create habits and goals, and like I said in the beginning, those rules and principles, and create an outline of what that perfect life looks like for you, and then start living it step by step. If you don't know what your dream life looks like today, really sit down with your journal and brainstorm on it, and then see what you can start implementing today, tomorrow, next month, next year. And if you do that with intention and enough determination, your dream life will soon come to life. Focus on what brings you joy, focus on what fulfills you, and that will most likely lead you to the most happy, fulfilling dream life that you can. But you can only do that when you intentionally take those steps to implement more of those things into your life, and not choosing other things that don't actually matter or that don't actually bring you anything into your life. So that with that also comes prioritizing. With that comes making choices. Making a choice between what you want and what you need sometimes, but also making choices between yourself and others. Sometimes it may be hard to choose yourself, but remember that you can't pour from an empty cup. If you don't take care of yourself, it becomes that much harder to take care of others. You can do that for a while, but you can't do that forever. So being intentional also frees up your energy and your space to better take care of the people that you care about in your life. It's not all just a selfish way of being. I think this was a pretty short podcast episode, but one that I really wanted to get out in the beginning of the year, because building your dream life takes intention, and it takes a lot of brain power and a lot of being actively present in your life, and not, like I said, not being the passenger on the plane. Start being the pilot. Take that radical responsibility. I have podcast episodes and videos all about these topics. I will make a playlist. I will make a playlist and I will link it in the description. That way you can either listen to the episodes on Spotify if that's what you prefer, or you can just watch all the other videos on YouTube. Do whatever you please, or don't listen if you don't care. But if you enjoyed the episode, it would mean the world to me if you could subscribe, leave a comment, maybe even share it with your friends. And otherwise, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.